Yeah. You see, I ain't got my glass, bro. I just got up.
Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Now, I was going to say before we came live, I was like, "Yo, I'm fully awake. Like I'm fully. I've been fully awake. I know sometimes I don't look like that, but I've been fully awake. Morning to you all. It is the 1st of August. God dang, this year is going fast. A couple weeks from now, I'll be coming to you. Shit, the first go around it'd be Ghana, and then the next go around it'd be Namibia. So I'm looking forward to that trip. But and it is a couple of weeks away. It's not long at all at this point. But today we got to get through today and keep it moving. What you all didn't catch, we were catching up on our elders and how they're doing and stuff. And as you all know, I was in Baltimore last week with my mom. She turned 88. And I was telling Thomas that I had a crazy vision this morning waking up. I mean, it was crazy and it wasn't anything bad. She's 88 years old. I mean, what more can happen at this stage in life except for her transitioning? So it was just one of those things that just made me just smile. I had a big ass smile on my face when I woke up this morning because my mom has dementia and Alzheimer's.
Mm.
It was not easy for me to move away, but I've been gone now damn near 4 years. I thought about that this morning. She was like, shit, I've been gone almost 4 years. For someone whom has a pretty decent memory, that's nothing. That's yesterday. But
Mm-hmm.
someone who's going through Alzheimer's and dementia, that's a lifetime. So for my mom not to recognize me, it's hurtful. It's very hurtful seeing her and knowing that she doesn't know who I am. More so than I know there's something in there that she still remembers me, but for her not to remember me outwardly, that's very painful. Very, very painful. And I do pretty well with it. But then there's times when I don't because that's my mom. So damn, I'm about to cry now. Speaking of which, fuck Steve Hartman. Let me tell you something. I've been watching these damn on the road Steve Hartman stories. And every damn time I watch one, I get to cry. Fuck you, Steve Hartman. I ain't got all them tears left in me to be crying all the damn time. Damn, boy, you do some good damn reporting, I swear for the Lord. Every goddamn time have you been seeing these things, Thomas Berry? Steve, I'm on the road. It's in such and such da da da. We run across a da da da. I'm like, man, I don't need all these tears in my life right now. I used to be a thug. Now I ain't nothing but that a goddamn punk. This is bullshit. Fuck Steve Hartman. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing, boy. Them stories be hidden, and it does reaffirm everyone's it should reaffirm everyone's hope in humanity. I was watching one just yesterday. Some damn chair with some fish on it was found in Baltimore, and I know where the hell they found it at too, because it's this shop right as you're coming through downtown Baltimore, going to the project that I grew up in, and it's a secondhand spot. I think it's called Second Chance while you playing. It's a big old spot, man. It's huge and they found this chair in there. Again, the back of the chair are fish, literally fish, like two big fish
Mm-hmm.
thrown across the back of it. Well, this damn white girl in, I want to say Ohio, she had the same damn chair tattooed on her leg. And she said she saw it one time and for whatever reason it connected with her. Well, then it was this group of women that banded together and transported. No, it was Rochester. She was in New York. They banded together and got the chair from Baltimore to her. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely crazy. It was a lovely story, though. I mean, heart was all fluttering and stuff. I'm all engaged. I'm locked in like this. You know, what's going to happen next? What they about to do? Is it going to
Yeah.
make it? Ooh, they made it. I'm all in this thing, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I had some real skin in the game. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, man, fuck Steve Harvey, man. All them damn feel good stories, shit. Damn kids doing great things, man. There's one story. I'm gonna get off Steve Hartman at this. So the last story, the sister in Texas took her children on a field trip to Mexico.
Okay.
They never left the classroom. She put the whole thing together. She made fake ass boarding passes and passports for the kids, and they had to take pictures for their pass. Whole nine. She did it up, making these kids truly, truly believe that they were getting on the airplane.
Great teacher.
It was so precious, huh?
A great teacher.
Man, it was so precious. So
Yeah.
freaking precious. It got so much traction. Southwest invited the kids to the because Dallas is Southwest's hub. Southwest invited the kids to their hub and put them on a plane and let them walk around the plane, show them the cockpit, check them in the seat, whole nine. Boarded them just like she boarded them in the classroom. Oh my God, it was freaking amazing. Amazing. I'm crying over that. I'm crying over a goddamn thing right about now. I tell you, I used to be a thug. I turned to a goddamn jellyfish. I don't know what's going on. Getting old. Getting old. This shit. But yeah. So I wanted to get that out. Needed to get that out because that's been heavy on your boy. It's hot. But moving on, we have to say a special prayer because them kids about to get Rashi back in the classroom. And I ain't praying for the kids. I'm praying for Rashi because I don't know how many kids she gonna get this year, but I'm pretty
Man, I
sure
done
it's
sat
gonna.
up here. I didn't gain. First of all, I didn't gain 23 pounds. I laid down so bad when I went to the doctor last week. I was 23 plus, and so
Oh
yeah,
wow.
you right. I don't know what the hell they gonna get. They gonna have to hoist me up the steps to get. I'm gonna have to figure out my. I'm gonna get my strongest boys to pull my fat ass up 4 flights of steps. But but you right, cause I got their ass. I'm on them. I went to 3 different trainings. Uh, and I got some plans for these children where they not gonna sit bored in front of me. They gonna have to find somebody else to torture, cause I got
Okay.
their ass.
Okay. Well, it is that time of the year where back to school motions are starting to happen, depending on what part of the country you're in. If you're down south, if you're out in the Midwest, it's getting closer and closer because these folks down south and in the Midwest tend to get out of school earlier than those on the upper east, northeast, if you will. So but those kids too are on the countdown because hell, September is here before you know it. It's the 1st of August, dog. It ain't taking no time. It ain't playing around. Now this year it's a little different because Labor Day is on the first Monday of September. Well, the first Monday of September this year is actually the 7th. So that is totally crazy, but it is what it is. Or the 8th, one of the two. It's not it's not it's a ways away. It's going to be not that first week, but like that second week in September. So
Hmm.
that's crazy. Yeah, man. It's working in favor for me though because that's when I take my vacation. So I still get the day no matter what. I just had to play it a little bit to flex it out even further. So honestly, I'm not working for like the first 2 freaking weeks of September. I won't be back to the middle of September. That's
Oh,
crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I will not do a show again on American soil until like the 20th, some crap like that. Yeah, the 19th, the 19th, because I'll get back on the 12th, and then it's the night, yeah, the 19th. So it'll be a minute. It'll be a minute again before I do a show on American soil. But it is what it is. There's a lot to talk about throughout the week. Unfortunately, we were discussing what we will discuss today, which is Senate confirmation hearings, not only the Attorney General, but also the DNI, because that went through on Tuesday. We'll talk about. I just saw a story come across with Spain putting up a barrier to prevent the Africans from coming over into Spain. We'll talk about the water situation in Iowa. If you're not familiar with this story, please understand the next frontier is water. It is water. It is clean water. There have been countries that have already starting to find ways to remove the salt from water. So we are ahead of the game on that. But when you talk about agriculture, when you talk about fracking or mining or for oil or coal or whatever, those things are going to affect and impact your water supply. So that has become a big to do in the state of Iowa. Then Wisconsin, the brothers dropped out of the gubernatorial race in Wisconsin because of some allegations levied against him. Yeah, Thomas. That what he think he was doing? You know what I mean? Uh, the father in Georgia, whom was convicted of second degree murder and manslaughter because of his son's actions at the high school back in 2024. Again, there's a number of things that we gonna get into today to really tackle it. The fact that we are blessed to have Thomas with us again this week, though he's been outside working like a Hebrew slave. He got a little darker, y'all. Y'all notice that he been with them field hands. He been out there in that sun getting it, doing his business and trying to get folks properly housed there in Minnesota. The fact that we do need to put hands on, not literally, figuratively, on Rashi and cover her in prayer. She about to go back into this classroom with these heathen ass kids. And we got a lot moving and a lot cooking this week, without a doubt. Now, I don't want to be ignorant to the other sides of life. LeBron James is going to Philly. I did not see that coming at all. I 100% had my money on him returning to Cleveland. I thought that was a situation where he was going to leverage himself, the fan base, against ownership in order for him to bring both of his sons. Because my thought is he is waiting for Bryce to get out of school. Bryce redshirted last year. I think this gives Bryce an opportunity to bulk up, to really let the game slow down a little bit for him. I think he'll be a much better kid coming in and coming out of this year's action. We'll see. But if he does emerge like he has the potential to emerge, I see LeBron flexing that and bringing him to whatever team he's on. I really see him wanting to leave that legacy of, you know, we are the first father, son, and son duo to ever play together on the same court for the same team. That's why I saw him going back to Cleveland, because I just saw it being a full circle move. This cat hasn't been stupid in whatever team he's chosen. Every team he's played for, like it or not, they've won a championship. He won a championship with LA. It was in a bubble. Who cares? They still won a championship. The games are still played. They still won. He won in Miami. He came back to Cleveland, brought a victory to Cleveland, brought a championship to Cleveland. What will he do in Philly? I don't know. But him, Jalen Brown, you don't know what you're gonna get out of Embiid. Who knows? Who knows? You know. But if there's anything left in this tank, if he stays healthy, they may be able to really cause some problems and do some damage. I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw with those young kids from out west. Oklahoma City isn't out of it, no stretch. The Spurs ain't out of it, no stretch. They're young, they can ball. They don't have the excuse that they had last year with the inexperience. They've been through the gauntlet now, as far as San Antonio is concerned. They can do it again. Oklahoma's that moved a couple of pieces. We'll see how that gels out. But they did it not too long ago. They got the experience too. They can get it done. Don't sleep on Dallas. And I'm not saying that just because I am a Duke fanatic and uh, um, Cooper Flag's there, but they've made some wise moves. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. I should say what Philly is riding high since the one. Which one you talking about? The Super Bowl win?
Well, yeah, because it's a city morale thing.
Hmm.
When you when you when you win, I'm gonna just tell you how it worked for Kansas City. We couldn't even say the word. Well, we wouldn't have been able to say the words World Cup here in Kansas City without the wins of the Chiefs, and they not even winning that damn much. I mean, they had a cute little streak there, but it was our ability to host people who came from every damn where for our that team that
Hmm.
provided any type of revenue for another team or for any other businesses associated with that. So those big wins for a city, even if it's the Philly cheesecakes, even if it's that, it do something for the morale of the city, and it makes it possible. It loosen up them purses for one. It makes some of them dollars shake out of them old white men's pocket. But more importantly, it gives the possibility of revenue because they say we like y'all now. We down with the city with the
Right.
hear about the actual city. So hell yeah, they coaxed them right on. They coaxed them
Okay.
right on, and because they said they had something to offer. They got something to love, and they should. Cause goddamn, I swear Cleveland treated him like a bald headed crackhead. And after he had did what he did for his son, getting him all hooked up right. Everybody has something a little funny to say about it. Some
Yeah.
people were mad because they were unable to create a reality for their son, and they was out there every damn Saturday running up and down in that grass for that child, and still could not do what LeBron was able to do for his child, sports wise. And then other people was like, how how what? I'm just happy that he's able to move like that movement from here to here to here to there. You used to couldn't do that, right, Brother Lee? Once a stealer, always a stealer. You almost had to die on the team. And so I'm just so happy that black men when they do these sports now, they not they not beholden to the team like you the ball. Hell, you could get another contract. Hell, you could get a contract so bad that they don't even want to give it to you because they don't get no residuals off of you. So I'm loving it, and I'm not even a sporty. I'm not a sporty at all for real, but I love to see one where black people go. They go to charisma, they go to fun and the buzz and the hype and the shine, and then us finally, instead of people stealing that shit from us, we can move around with that and wow people and capitalize on it. Because you used to couldn't capitalize on your sport. Wow, for real. You just was so happy that somebody knew you could play sports. You shut your ass over there and shut up, Jesse Owens. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
now, hell, you can take it and go run for. You become ambassador to what they give Herschel Walker. You can become
Oh Lord.
ambassador to Narnia or whatever they did with him. So a man and a black man in a ball used to be one thing, and now it's something else. I am so glad to see it in my lifetime. I'm glad to see athletes have agency. You know what I'm saying? And be able to take that money and multiply it.
So
It's a beautiful thing.
Trump nominated him and appointed him as the ambassador to the Bahamas. And I don't know if anybody
Right,
can understand.
Narnia, like I said. But that's his affiliation. That's what he got with his, right?
Right.
Jim Brown got what he got with his back in the day, and they trying to put them back there. By the way, it's shut up, get your ball, and shut up and go back in the corner. But they're y'all refusing. Black men are refusing to be relegated to just athletic understanding. They doing the Kaepernick. They doing stuff with that sports power. And I think LeBron is a case. What they call it, a test case, textbook. He's a textbook example on athletic power turned into economic commerce.
So let's be careful with that too, because the other side of that coin is, as we look at our brother from the pivot, Ryan Clark, he got canned by ESPN, and the questions are massive. Why did he get canned? What made others more deserving of keeping their job than he? How is it that those folks whom don't have as big of a following still have a check from ESPN? Was it not possible to negotiate or renegotiate with him his contract in order to keep him on? Yeah, he stated himself that he regrets adjusting himself in order to fit in. That is his biggest regret. So I talked to my team about that as well. It's like, one of the things that I was taught years ago was if you're in charge, be in charge. People are going to like you, people are going to not like you, but be in charge and be consistent. Consistency is key. That way, no matter what they do, like you or not, they cannot say that you're inconsistent, that you are more supportive of this person than you are of that person, because that's the part that gets you in trouble. People not liking you, that's the norm. That's going to happen. But when you treat somebody differently because you've shown them, when you show people that you have favorites, that's the part that gets you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I do my best not to do that. So Nate said Ryan Clark talked about this on the podcast, The Pivot, and he said that he couldn't be too black because that scared white management. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And he said too on The Pivot that for the past year or so, they've scaled things back on The Pivot because he didn't want the smoke. He said, the first couple of years they were doing it, they went at anything and everything. They talked about it all. But he's purposely scaled back on the other side because he didn't want the smoke coming from ESPN. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. It's a trick bag though, right? Because the other side could kick in as well, where one side says we don't want you too black. The other side can come in and say, well, you ain't being black enough. So how do you win? Right? So I mean by being consistent. Motherfuckers ain't gonna like you regardless. People gonna fuck with you, gonna fuck with you. Those who don't fuck with you are not gonna fuck with you. It is what it is.
But don't you think it's the political climate though? I mean, here's my take. we started off with LeBron and we went to Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so LeBron, and I've said this for years, and I said it on this show, LeBron is the epitome of black power. But if you watch black people online debate Jordan versus LeBron, it's almost debating the free slave versus the slave. And a lot of the older people like the slave. I'm just being honest. If we talk about the symbolism of politics and power, LeBron represents black independence, black power. Posted a video with him at 18 turning down a $10 million check from Reebok. And he ended up getting a $99 million check in the end. But if you watch black folks in politics and sports, look at how we root against the black athlete. We've never rooted against a LeBron-like figure before, ever, the way that we do. And we try to make it about Jordan versus LeBron, but this is about fitting in versus fitting out, right? And then if you go back to Ryan Clark, he tried to fit in. And that fitting in is what cost him his job. Now, a lot of people, they'll try to use the semantics when it comes to LeBron. But if you just listen to what the commissioner just said, they had to figure out what team LeBron was going to pick to put out their schedule. If that doesn't tell you that he is the pulse of the league, he's the pulse of the league. When they say, oh, nepotism got his son in, well, what he recognizes a little bit different than Mike is if I'm making you $billions by my face being shown on the television screen, then if you got to pay my son $3 million a year, it's worth the change. And I feel like that's the part in the debate versus LeBron and Jordan that we miss out on. That's a different conversation. And I think with Ryan Clark, what we found out quick is that when we don't own the networks, this is what they can do to us. They can fire you mid-show. They could disparage your name and allow others to trash you in the process. And so, I'm happy that brother landed with the pivot. I'm happy that a lot of these other brothers, they do have these podcasts. But I will say this much: as many podcasts that we see outside of Charlemagne's Black Effect, and I'm pretty sure Black Effect has some white parent company over it, podcasting with all of these black personalities need a one landing page, and they need one landing page that is distributed by for black folks to make that money, that could bring in ad revenue, that can generate more money. And that's really what it boils down to. BET was not good to buy because they couldn't get ads. You can't get ads on Revolt. You can't get ads on most of it. And part of the reason why you can't is, again, do many of us want to support the non-plantation? And I think that's part of the things that we have to understand collectively when we see what we see with LeBron, and then the contrast to Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark got fired. He was pretty much the best person, analyst that they have at ESPN talking football, if you ask me, from X's and O's and even personality. But you get rid of people like that because it was one white person in the building that didn't want Ryan there. And that shows you the power of this political climate for MAGA fans. That's why it got leaked to the where it got leaked to. But I think that was the exercise, in my opinion, of white power. And I see LeBron exercising it the opposite way of saying, no, y'all whatever I do, I'm gonna get my full off of it. You ain't gonna just get yours off on me. I'm gonna get mine. And yeah, if you don't like my son playing on the team, so be it. Why is your son the GM? When did he learn how to become a general manager? Because you own the team. Why is your family a part of player personnel? What do they know about player personnel? The things that we don't ask of white folks, when we're sitting online talking about Bronny and we cracking those jokes about Bronny. Don't y'all wish Michael had the same type of balls to do that for Marcus? Maybe Marcus wouldn't be getting caught with that snow,
When you talk about the family ties in the sports, though, well, we still talking about basketball. We talking about something different. Anyhow, this football season is right around the corner. I thought you might have been talking about something else.
Let's leave my Cowboys alone.
Well, you said it, I didn't, but I was implying it all day. As the plantation master, the the workers, the slaves, and the boss. That I think the more and more we see this money game, this power game over facial recognition, we see this. We're going to see stuff like this play out. They're going to blame it on Stephen A. Remember, Stephen A. wanted a huge freaking contract. Huge freaking contract from ESPN. And I'm not saying that he didn't deserve it. He is their draw. But guess what they did right after that? They invested a shitload of money into Pat McAfee. McAfee got a big contract. They are putting Pat McAfee everywhere. Oh, Jamar, stop that. Stop that. But yeah, so they're trying to supplant Stephen A with McAfee. That's going to be the next thing. I don't know if Stephen A is going to make it through his contract. And if he does, that will be his last. They will not renew him again. They will not renew him. He's costing them way too much money. He's gotten his hands in other things, which was smart for him, so that he can start transitioning himself out when the time comes and he won't go broke. Say what you want about his acting. He's He's actually an actor now. Say what you want about the podcasting. He has a podcast show. He has a show now. So he's definitely branded himself well. He's definitely put himself above the curve. So we'll see.
Well,
Yeah,
I
Marlon
think
said
even
McAfee's their marquee talent now. I agree. He's the young face. Uh, in a time of MAGA and Trump, he fits that mold. I agree with that. He is their marquee person now.
but I think the thing is with what I'm worried about when it comes to watching ESPN and any of these shows is that I don't want to see the personalities not be personalities. I watched Get Up after Brother got let go, and their show seemed stiff. And
Mm.
it seems stiff even from the white
After
commentators.
Shannon got let go.
No, after Ryan Clark got let go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gotcha.
It seems stiff, and people are like they're talking, but they're walking on eggshells. Because the thing is, when black folks are in and we bring that personality, that aura, and that energy, everybody brings the aura and energy to match it. And when you remove us, almost in a way as if you're punishing us for being us, it's almost like telling everybody else, now you better not be yourself neither. And so, what I worry with this whole MAGA thing, because that's what this is all about. This is
Oh yeah.
about Trump putting his thumb on the needle and having an impact on sports, having an impact on news, having an impact on so much. And what was fearful for me is that I know so many intellectual black folks that don't even watch the news no more. And I'm like, y'all you gotta stop getting it. Listen, I'm glad that y'all tune in to us on Saturday morning, but the news should not stop with us on Saturday morning. You should never have one
But we're
source.
grateful you're here.
Oh, we're glad that you're here. Come back and
Like, follow, and share.
compare more notes. But you should have multiple notes. You shouldn't be in a space where you're not understanding whether it's locally or nationally what's happening. And if you allowed everything that we've allowed them to take control over, they've exploited and they've damaged. And so the things that you say you don't care about, when you say you don't care about the Center for Disease Control, no problem. Here comes the measles. You don't care about the FDA? No problem. Here comes explosive diarrhea. I mean, listen, everything that you say you don't care about, they said no problem. We'll take it off the board and kill you. You don't care about the news? Hey, don't worry about it. We'll control the news ourselves. So those are
We'll
the
give you Fox for free.
and give you Fox for free, right? But Fox is in every hotel that you go to, right? Fox is everywhere. But remember,
Everywhere.
the general
Can we stop right? I'm
yeah,
sorry to jump in.
go ahead.
Can you stop right there? Think about that. That's the only news outlet that is totally free. It's everywhere you go, regardless of where you are. If the television gets nothing else, you will get Fox News. Does that not seem a little odd to you? Does that not seem a little off to you?
Mm-hmm.
You can't follow your local news if you move 2 states over, but you can follow Fox News no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You might not even get CNN. Fuck the NBC stuff. Fuck the Turk, the Young Turk. Fuck all that. Al Jazeera's, all that. Nah, scrap all that. Just put all that to the side. Regardless of where you are, you will get Fox. That seems a little hokey to me.
Oh,
You have to pay. Again, depending on where you are, you may have to pay to get CNN, and you damn sure are paying if you want MSNBC. That seems a little.
well, because you got one audience that cares, and you got another audience that don't care. I've been saying this for a long time. It's what we are talking about online, the algorithms. Algorithms matter and they know how to do it. Like I was shocked about the back and forth we had online this week about the bonnets at the school. And I'm gonna tell you why. I almost fell for it, but then I thought about a conversation that me and Wisdom had once before. And the fact of the matter is that black folk has always had a standard. And I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't too ready to start seeing us walk around in pajamas and do and hair bonnets through the airport like we ain't got no clothes on. I don't think that that's appropriate for our young sisters, especially in this climate. Especially in this climate where white folks are being overly aggressive towards black folks in black bodies, where you know that there's less sympathy and empathy if somebody hops out and attack you, and you can just read the comments online to see what these folks are saying and how they are moving. The other thing too is the HBCUs are supposed to set a standard. And you can say the standard is rooted in white supremacy or what have you. But I will say this to some of my brothers and sisters. Don't forget who civilized whom, who found whom, where, when, and how. And I think a lot of times we forget that. We act like they civilized us and they gave us a standard, and instead of us giving them a standard. And I think when we argue this piece, it shows up in a lot of ways. No, we gave them the standard. We set the standard. You don't have to have pajamas on, and you don't have to have. You shouldn't go to school in that way. Just remember a couple years ago,
Crocs,
man, the whole nine, and
hoodie.
they're asking you to prepare like you going to a job. And I get it. People say they want to be comfortable, but I remember working at an all boys school, and we used to have mothers that would show up in they see through pajamas, walk in the hallway with nothing but men in the hallway. I'm just being honest with you. Like, and again, when you bring that up and people say, oh, y'all shouldn't be looking at it like that. It's like, man, the sister would come up, her son on the other side of the hallway. She would always make sure, not just one, but a few, they come on a long side and walk all the way over. You know exactly what you're doing. You know you in an all boys school. You know it's a bunch of men that's out there with these boys in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And you got on some light colored pajamas and some red thongs up under it. You know exactly what you know what you're doing, and you know that it's a bunch of young men in that hallway. So I feel like
And you know you are abundantly blessed.
it come there you have it.
Abundantly blessed.
There you have it. It
Man,
never was.
I'm
It never was the skinny minis. It was never the skinny minis doing that. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying the standard. I think when we start getting upset at each other for having a standard, and then we always this banter again. Notice what we're having the conversation over, and then we're saying, well, this is about a European standard versus a non-European standard. And then I asked the question, are we happy when brothers show up sagging pants, wearing do-rags and wife beaters? Do you think that's appropriate attire on a college campus? And if that's cool, do-rags, wife beaters, pants sagging, right? Do you think that brother will be prepared to go to school if that's the way he's showing up every day with his draw? I'm just asking, because sometimes it seems like with one side of the genders, anytime you say they can't do something, automatically any structure, any desire for structure, it's always a pushback. Where when if you take the other side of the gender, it's always like, no, they need that structure. No, they need to be told you can't wear that do rag. Pull your pants
okay.
up. Behave this way.
So I have a question because
Mhm,
you spoke to your experience at the schoolhouse.
mhm.
Rashi, have you? What's
Baby, it's soft
it?
porn up in there. It's a whole lot of Lululemon stretched over. It's exactly that. But more importantly, it's a lot of like rampant drug. A lot of the parents come in quite high, and they like that motherfucking foyer up. You hear me? They don't even put it out coming up. They put it out when they park. Okay, and more
So we're talking
importantly,
marijuana more than anything.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know the smell of other drugs. I don't frequent crack dens enough to know when I'm smelling it. I only know wet and weed when I smell it. I don't know how other drugs smell. But more importantly, you can they are almost all. It's a subclass of people who do this, and what they said is they're done with respectability politics. This is the words I keep hearing out there in the streets. It's called respectability politics, and they said why are we beating ourselves to respect people who have caught? I mean, I think the statement is they kill people in they Sunday's best. They'll shoot you in your
Okay.
Sunday's best. So what difference does it make if I'm in a bonnet? The overall nation hates you and your advancement, whether you're doing it in a bonnet, in a knee job, whether you're doing it in Louis Vuitton. They don't want you to exist. So whether you existed in a bonnet or with braids or blonde hair to your booty, your existence is a problem. So
So
we
I'll say something quick and I'll let you get right back in, Rashi.
go ahead, go ahead.
So to that question, I'll say what Dion says. When you look better, you feel better. When you feel better, you play better. When you play better, they pay better. So that's why. When you when you give yourself an opportunity to present yourself as someone who is at a level, you then give yourself space to ascend to that level. And you give the world the messaging that I'm not to be fucked with because this is where I am, but this is who I am, but this is where I'm going. So leave me be. And I still believe there are more people than not that will get out of your way because they see you with a plan and a path. Even if theirs is self destructing, they will support you in your plan and path. I know that's how I got to where I am. I know there were jokers out here that saw me in them streets doing them street things, but also saw me as, yo, Shorty got a plan. Shorty gonna be somebody. You know, if he crossed you, then you got to do what you got to do, but don't go after him. Don't go at him. Let Shorty live. Let Shorty breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of us got to make it, and that motherfucker gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a problem with him, you got a problem with me.
Yeah.
It's anti that crab in the bucket mentality. I came from the streets in a time where yes, we were crabs in a bucket, but there was that king crab that understood every now and again somebody was going to get out, and it was their job to make sure that person got out because that person was going to come back and take care of the hood. Yeah,
And,
I,
you
I,
know,
I crib the other day. I
economic,
posted.
it's an economic indicator also. Uh, you in your bonnet in your sweatshirt because that's your paper level right now. You got a bonnet and do that rag paper level. Asking people who are under siege of under an economic siege to reinvest their money into looking as if they're not struggling, to me is horrible. Asking people to pretend to
Oh,
look
whoa, 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 whoa,
in
wait,
a
time
way
out.
that they're not actually
I got it, Thomas.
economically able to do it. So what do you so if I'm not in my bonnet, and I'm just telling you because when I was in college I was broke. I mean, I didn't have, there's no daddy, there was nobody when the Pell Grant check ran out, for me paying bills and stuff with it, it was over. It was, I wasn't coming back with no cute outfit. So I just need y'all to hear that the economy is rough and that students are catching hell. And so if all you got is a dirty sweater and a bonnet and some stretch pants to make it to Calc One, put on the stretch pants, put on the bonnet and take your ass to class.
Okay, so my cross examination there is, if that's all you got, then don't be smelling like weed. Don't be on your phone all day, because if you ain't got no money for nothing else and you ain't got money for that phone bill. Don't um, be talking to me with your French tips. Don't be coming at me with your weave that you got in your head. Because, I mean, I remember when we had Blue Magic, a hot cone, and that was about it. But you got your hair washed and you got your hair pressed, if nothing else. It's not about you coming out with the freshest styles. It's not about you coming out with um, hair falling down to your ankles. It's about you stepping outside, recognizing the fact that you represent something greater than you. And unfortunately, we have allowed our children and some of us ourselves to fall into the trap of I am me, I'm doing me, and forget about anything and everybody else. That's not how this thing works. You are you, yes. You have the right to be you, yes. But you also have a responsibility with that right. And for whatever reason, our lack of responsibility, accountability, however you want to call it or label it, is fading away. And it's fading away too dang quickly. Because there's plenty other folks, I'm gonna tap you in. There are plenty other folks who go through the same struggles, but they don't do the same thing. Now, I said earlier, you talking about a sweatshirt, Crocs, and some damn pajama pants. It's too many kids walking into school like that. You see them, Rashi. Thomas, you've seen them. I've seen them on a damn bus stop. How the hell you allowing your child to go out the house like that? You are not going out here representing me like that. I don't give a damn how you feel. I buy your clothes. That's me. So you gonna wear what I bought for you. That's what you gonna wear. And let me pop up in the see. I don't think we do enough pop ups now again. Let me pop up in that school and find your ass in something different. We going outside and we gonna have a conversation, and it ain't gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. And I will embarrass your ass in front of your friends because
I think it's like
you ain't
a
doing me
leather
like that.
jacket. Imagine back in the day. Remember when you had your leather jacket? Men with leather jackets, they don't run up on y'all. They don't have shit. It ain't hardly a nothing. Men's even it's an outfit that let other people know to leave me the fuck alone.
Mm.
Okay, I want you to think about it like a leather jacket. I want you to think about it like what clothes do men wear when you see a man in this particular garb, you know you're not going to be able to, you know, when you see a Hell's Angel, you don't go up there and tell him, hey man, you got too much grease in your hair, or damn, that leather is too dark. He don't, his garb, his, that ain't got shit to do with you. In fact, it is so you can leave him the fuck alone.
But I think I think this conversation may be getting deviated from what it's about. It's not about male or female. It's about the young folks. Period.
But right,
Like,
you know, Lee, I sent you an essay from a sister from Minnesota, and she said something. I wanted to read it real quick. I
yes,
sent this to
by
you
all means, go for it.
this week. This young lady named Zude. It says a lot of you foam at the mouth anytime anyone proposes a governance structure, a decision-making process, a clear chain of accountability, even if it's for alternative systems of care led by common folk. The moment those words enter the room, people literally get irritated and tune out. Suddenly, the conversation is about power dynamics and about who controls whom and about the danger of a hierarchy and about how structure is what the oppressor uses. A lot of people who say they have a critique of structure have also had an experience of structure, usually a bad one. A household where love was conditional on compliance, a school that suspended you for the same thing it looked past when someone else did it, a job that had rules for everyone and exceptions for the people who looked like a person in charge, a church that preached community and practiced control and favoritism, a government that told you what your family could and couldn't do based on how much money you had. Capitalism itself, which is the most elaborate structure most of us have ever lived inside, which has used that structure almost entirely against us. And so the brain does what the brains do. It generalizes. If structures hurt me there, structures will hurt me here. If rules were used against me before, rules will be used against me again. The response makes sense given what caused it. The brain learns something from a specific kind of harm and it is applying that lesson. Now, here it is. The problem, well, that adaptation does not distinguish between the structure that harmed you and the structure that could protect you. It just recognizes the shape of the thing and responds. And when that responses get called a critique of hierarchy or analysis of power, it becomes very hard to challenge because now you are not dealing with the wound, you are dealing with an ideology. And ideologies are much harder to examine. Now, I'm not going to go further in it because I sent it to you and Rodney. And the reason why I sent that to you all is because of this conversation. And that young lady is here in Minnesota. Brilliant, brilliant essay. I sent it to you guys via your inbox on Instagram. And what she's pretty much saying is it's almost like an allergic reaction. And she talked about from the past 6 to 7 years of activism, of just challenging any and everything that has structure just for the sake of challenging because it has structure. Calling everything respectability politics. Anytime anything is structured, everything is about patriarchy. Everything is about toxic masculinity. Everything has a label until you want to have governance or control over something yourself. And what we have to really take a look at what they're trying to implement on the HBCU is their standard. And when you have an institution, every institution should have a standard. And if you can't let that institution have a standard, why are you at that institution? That's why you have homeschooling. Now, why ain't nobody, for respectability sakes, if you can't show up without the do-rag on, if you can't show up without the bonnet on, how come staying and doing online classes ain't an option? Because you say that that's what you would do if you don't like how the way public schools are being taught. You're going to pull your kid out, you're going to do homeschool. Well, there's always online classes for people to take. And I just hate the fact that we always get upset, but these are the same HBCUs that had to send out a couple years ago a statement saying, hey, men shouldn't show up with purses and heels on. I'm just being real. Like that had to be stated because once again,
you see Rodney's reaction, right?
Hey,
He did the school you do.
Clark University had to send that out. You cannot show up. They didn't want African-American males to show up with heels. They didn't want them to show up with purses.
But Brother Rodney, y'all shaking your head. But if I am a male that presents in my brain as female, and I want to show my body, my human body, and put on it what I can afford to buy and how I want to look, who are you to tell me how as long as I'm not naked? That's the only agreement we made. The agreement was no open genitals. We did not
No.
make a I dress to, and by the way, I'm just trying to tell you, I'm anti-bonnet myself. You'll never find me in no damn bonnet, okay, or pajamas in a. That's not what I'm saying, but I also know that, hey, everybody. I'm gonna tell you what RuPaul said. RuPaul said everything but your naked body is drag. That's right. He's a brilliant man. Everything but your actual flesh is drag, and how you decide to dress. What everything you put on is your personality and how you decide you want to be, right? And so why can't we all make that damn decision? We
Okay,
all can make that decision.
so I can't remember exactly who said it because we've had a lot of comments this morning, but someone said in the chat, I'm trying to scroll through and I'm not sorry. I wasn't sure if it was Nate, Jamar, or Marlon, but said something about your job. So if your job had a policy of if you are born male, you cannot wear this, that, and the third. Would you agree or would you disagree?
I go straight.
If you
I
chose the
disagree.
work, if you chose the job, then what comes along with choosing the job is obeying by their policies. If you chose to go to that school, the agreement is more than that. That school has a responsibility to take care of you and your safety. If they have deemed it a, a health hazard, a safety hazard, that our student body is not mature enough to deal with this, then to protect the entire student body, it is, in our opinion, the best policy for you to not show up here, our place of business, however you choose to. Rules are rules for a reason. And we understand that the rules have been pushed, bent, broken by this current administration in this current time. But we did not used to be that way oh so long ago, like 2 years, maybe. It seems like forever ago, but it ain't that far. Um, so that's what you have to deal with. And if you don't like it, then you can unenroll, take your money someplace else. That's the choice that you make. And I support you in that choice. That's what the school is saying. But the school is saying, while you're here in our place of business, these are our expectations of you. There's an uproar right now at Howard University. A number of children lost their enrollment. I didn't dig into that. I did not expect to be on this topic this damn long today. Honestly, I thought we was going to get to the Senate confirmations. We'll get there in a minute. But for whatever the reason, those kids got unenrolled. They were unenrolled. When you step outside and interact with others, you must govern yourself according to yourself without a doubt. Yes. Respect yourself. Have your standards. Yes. But when you're not in control at work, at school, you're not in control in those places. You have to make a choice. You either roll with what the people there want you to do, or you roll out. It is that simple. You can do whatever you want to do. You just can't do that shit here. You can do whatever you want to do. It's similar to, and I'm glad Rodney's on. It's similar to our profession, Rodney. It's similar to our background. You cannot join the United States military and be someone whom, to your point, Rashi, in your mind, wants to present as female. That doesn't work. You're not authorized to wear heels if you were born male. You're not authorized to do that. You can do that shit, whatever, you can do that or any other thing that you want to do on your own time when you're not here. You can do that. You can get off and take off your uniform and walk around in heels as much as you want to. But as long as you have a swinging dick, you will wear flat shoes. You will wear male issued shoes. You will wear a male issued hat. As long as you have a vagina, you will wear.
Hey, didn't y'all just lose that fight? Like, I ain't trying to be funny. This was a current argument in the military. Didn't they lose that fight? Did, uh, let me go do some research. I want to
No,
say y'all just lost the fight
no.
against trans appearing people. You can join the military as a trans
I didn't say
individual.
you couldn't join. I said you cannot wear. You cannot. I never
Well,
said you couldn't join.
what's the if I'm trans and I
Yes.
join as the person you hired, not the person I was that you want to hire, used to want to hire. If I'm trans and you hire me in the military, you hired me as I am. Meaning, if I'm a female presenting male, when I sign up with my scraggly looking mustache, you put me down as that. They don't have the power anymore. They can't. Let me go do the research because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
y'all lost the fight. Y'all
Yeah.
lost the fight.
You need to dig into that one, sis, because
And it's not
that
and
ain't
it's not
it.
our fight though. Let's be honest, because we shouldn't own the
Correct.
idea that it's our fight. I think the main thing that's being said in all of this, and we can go into politics or whatever. When you go look at the Senate and you look at the Congress, it's the way people show up to work. And I'm pretty sure that it's a code or it's a dress code that's hinted to in presentation of how they want you to present yourself. And I feel like, there is a level, I'll give you guys a good example as a teacher. I had a coworker and I used to tell her all the time, like, look, I appreciate you. I know you're young, but when you show up with that tongue ring in your mouth, when you're talking to parents, parents are not thinking to you about you and the lesson plans that you're talking about. They're thinking about what
Correct.
you can do with that mouth. That's all
Yep.
that is. So whatever else you got going on, automatically you've already, whatever's between your ears, they don't respect you for that no more. Whether it's the mom, she's either judging you or trying to figure out what's up with that mouth. It's the dad, he's either judging you or trying to figure out what's up with that mouth. Because as a teacher, there is an expectation of educators when people see educators and what they want to see, right?
What that mouth do?
If you go to if you go if you go see a barber and the barber's head is crazy, his line is jacked up, and he just said, "Hey, that's my style." Many people ain't gonna want to sit in that chair. You go to a beautician, she ain't got no edges, everything on her is jacked up. You ain't gonna want to necessarily deal with her. I say that to say those are professionals, but their schooling is training to get you to a point. How you practice, they say in sports, is how you play. So if I'm on the edge,
Practice how you fight.
if I'm academia and I want to make sure that my grads are getting the best jobs possible, it's on me to prepare them for the real world every step of the way. And we all know this with HBCUs and other schools. They're tougher on freshmen because they're trying to make sure that they set a tone with them so that they can survive the next 4 years. If you become lackadaisical and you allow them to treat it like it is um, optional, Rodney and Lee and Rashi, in the way they dress and how they present themselves and even the verbiage that they use on campus, then you know that those kids are typically going to wash out because the rigor is going to be harder for them because they still are in a laissez mode per se. And so I don't think it's about respectability. I just think that institutions, I think that any place have a right to have a standard. And I feel like this is what we're fighting constantly against. Some black folks want standards, and some black folks don't get two flying figs about standards, but they always want sympathy. So that's pretty much what it comes down to me. I feel like this has been a brouhaha based off of, again, them understanding the algorithm, because we had this conversation not too far ago. And Sister Rashi, the bonnet is just a modern day curl bag.
Mm.
And I remember in the 80s and 90s, the argument about you shouldn't be showing up in public with just your curl bag on top of your head.
Uh,
The
did you
rules
have
was that
anything?
you can't. Women shouldn't be wearing skirts. Skirts got to be
Yeah,
below the knee.
it should be.
Men are. But this is what got me though. The list
I'm
is
just playing.
so
I'm just
much
playing.
longer for us. The list of what women should be able to do fashionably is so fucking short. But y'all, taco meat to the wind, no worries. Polyester pants so tight you can see the veins, no worries. No worries. Pants
Rashi,
hanging down till we can see the skid mark, no worries. No worries.
Rashi,
There are no, what are y'all stipulations?
Rashi. Why is this so confusing? Why is this so threatening? Why is this so agitating? Life ain't
It's
fair, sis.
agitating to me
Life
because,
isn't.
for
Life
one,
isn't fair, Rashi.
y'all sound somewhat elitist. I'm not gonna even argue with you for a little bit. Y'all sound like the clothes have always been there and pressed, and I know it ain't so. I
No, no,
know at least one of y'all struggled, and
but
that, and I guess I just come from a poor mindset. My family have been poor for so many
but
generations
again,
that you can put that
I
stipulation on us. We just couldn't. We would never be able to jump up to the standards that most that y'all would have for most what most black people would ever be able to do.
no. I set the stage for this about 5 10 minutes ago when I said this isn't male, this isn't female, this is the younger generation. Period. And so let's put that to the side. And make this is not a male versus female issue. This is a younger generation issue and how young folks present themselves. Period. It was not just bonnets. It was also what else, Thomas? It was bonnets. It was do rags. Thank you. So the do rags are more for the men. The bonnets are for the women. It's an equal thing. It's that's the only equality there. So it's not a male versus female thing. This is about presenting yourself as a professional person or a prepared learner in an educational setting. It shows that you are serious about the work, about educating yourself and preparing yourself for the next phase of life. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not a dude thing versus a woman thing. It's not a chick thing versus a broke ass ninja thing. It's not that. It's a thing about young folks not presenting themselves in a manner in which makes you believe that they have a future. Because walking around with do rags and or bonnets in public all day does not convey to most folks that you believe that you have a future. Does not convey that. You know what I'm saying? So and you know,
They used to say that
black
about
folks have been go ahead.
you. Got a tattoo?
No,
You
I
got
do
a
not.
tattoo, brother Rodney?
No, ma'am.
Tattoo, brother Thomas?
I got bullet wounds, no tattoos.
No tattoos. Because back in the day, one tattoo, that's exactly what they would say. You got to,
Okay.
they're all alternative citizen. They got a tattoo. What we talking about is just existing in the safe, alternative citizen space where you do not have to, you don't have to do what other people think they think you supposed to do. You can be yourself. Now, whether or not it aligns to the standards,
There's a time and a place.
But you know the tattoo. I'm glad you brought that up, Rashi, because the tattoos is a great example. Now instead of one tattoo or two tattoos, because people got relaxed on the standard, they try to make it implemented more in the culture because of sports. Now you got kids who got tattoos all over their face. Now,
And hold on. I remember somebody being not so pleased that somebody that they know and love got a tattoo on their face. That
I
was a
we,
hate
couple
that
years ago.
motherfucking tattoo. I hate that guitar. I be wanting to cut it off her face every day.
You know,
And then
so
went
so
behind me, and then been
so
behind
so
that and got another face tattoo.
so
Okay,
to
because
quote you, what are we talking about here?
but see, it
Because
ain't about.
were
See, you don't know
you
my
of
daughter.
the opinion not too long ago that was some bullshit.
My daughter is fairly attractive, so when she put that motherfucker on her face, she kicked our market value down.
uh-oh,
So now
uh-oh.
we couldn't get her no rich. We can't go to Rodney's son now. Rodney's son don't want to look at my daughter with the tatted up face. You understand? And I told her, but that ain't me. I don't, and I also don't want my daughter walking around scaring people, making them think she's an alternative citizen. She not. She do all the shit. She went to school. She take care of her kids. She's not an alt citizen. But it's the. I'm gonna finish it here. I'm done. What do a
Okay.
skinhead? What do skinheads? What does a Jehovah Witness say to a skinhead?
Oh,
Not a
go ahead.
goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. Don't nobody say nothing to the Hell's Angels. Don't nobody say nothing to skinheads. Don't nobody say nothing to people who physically on the outside give you indicators that they are not on your standards because they find them either hypocritical, unable to be attained. I don't know, but just know this, okay? There are a certain amount of people who don't want to be sheeple. They call them sheeple. They don't want to be. And so they do other things to their body and their clothes and their mind so they don't get confused with being regular old sheeple. And so
Okay.
and I love that idea, even though I don't love the face tattoo.
Okay. So let's go back to where the hell we were supposed to start because we went a long way off the range.
And we
All
might
right. So
we might have to go a little over today so we can catch up, brother.
we may have to. We may have to. Going back to where we were supposed to start. All right, y'all. The Senate. So on Tuesday, the DNI confirmation of Jay Clayton happened. Now, if you're not familiar with Jay Clayton, don't worry about it. I wasn't either until I started doing some damn digging. Now, the most interesting thing is he was confirmed on Tuesday, and as of today, it's Saturday, he has not taken the oath of office. He's been confirmed, but has not taken the oath of office. Now, uh, the the stand-in Bill Plute, I think that's how you
Palte,
pronounce the brothers. Huh?
Palte, Palte.
Pulte, Pulte. Okay. Um, has carried a lot of favor with Trump and is planning on some additional layoffs. So he is still sitting in the seat. Now, this weekend, everyone's gathering around the fire at Camp David, probably talking about the midterm elections more than the freaking war in Iran, to be honest with you, because the midterms are almost here. We're 95 days away. That's why I titled the show that today. But a senior official said that he hasn't taken going back to Clayton. I think my allergies are finally getting to me, y'all. I'm sorry. Clayton hasn't taken the oath of office because he has some business to wrap up in New York, and then he needs to plan the move down to DC. Now I don't know who the hell they think they're talking to, but if you're going for a nomination and you pretty much know your ass is getting confirmed, how much time does it take for you to wrap up your affairs wherever you are living and find a new place to live? Now, there's a preliminary team that will go in and find that for you. That's not hard. And wrapping up your affairs, we live in a digital age. You can do that at any point from any damn device in the world. So let's stop the bullshit with that. But that's where we are. Now, this cat got no Democratic support whatsoever. No Democrats voted for him, so he was confirmed along party lines. During his confirmation, he did not acknowledge that Biden won the 2020 election. Of course, he didn't, because if he did, then he wouldn't got the damn job. Um, I don't know. Now, he has no national security experience either. And he's the Department of National Security, I'm sorry, Department of National Intelligence director. But this is, Rodney and I talked about this early in the week. And I said, I don't know if I said it on the show, but I know I said it to him, it was like, yo, I don't know if anyone's going to have enough time to undo all the chaos that these dudes have done. With this continuing war in Iran, us continuing to give away, I'm sorry, not give away, but to utilize weapons that we will need in order to defend ourselves if anyone attacked us. Here we are putting a DNI cat in who has no experience at that level. I haven't gotten to the attorney general yet, and what that means specifically to black people and immigrants. But again, haven't gotten there yet. I, I'm 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 nervous, and I think I should be nervous because this whole ball of wax is presenting a very weak side to our enemies. And if someone wants to attack us, this is the time. There's so many holes in our normal armor right now, literally and figuratively. This is not good. None of this is good, and it's sadly getting worse. I had no idea it could be this damn worse. It's getting worse than even my wildest imagination to think of. Rodney, what do you think?
Well, I think you should expand your wildest imagination. And that's for everybody. We've said it, I've said it multiple times that however bad things are, they're going to get worse. We have history to tell us this. We're actually not the Jews during Nazi Germany who this was a new thing. It was a new thing to them, but we studied their history, so we should know what's coming next. Matter of fact, we don't even have to use history because for the most part, they tell us what's coming next. So they wrote a whole book. I think it was 900 and some pages. Was it 936 pages? That told us what they were going to do. So none of this should be a surprise to us. The only surprise to me is people are surprised. When you know the playbook, you got to set up your own counter playbook. That's what we do in sports, right? Let's go spy on another team, see what they do and what they practice, and then we start to practice how to defend against that or how to change our offense to overcome it. That's what I'd like to see us do it instead of being clutching our pearls all the time. On oh, how dare they?
Right.
They dare. It's not even about them anymore. It's about us. So however bad it is, as long as we continue doing the things that we're doing with our strongly worded letters, they will laugh it off and keep going. The executive branch can always outpace the legislative branch. The executive branch can always outpace the SCOTUS. So he can do whatever he wants to do. And as long as people follow those orders, which is one reason why one of their first orders of business was to fire federal employees, because the majority of federal employees fired were who? They were
Veterans.
women. They were women, Black women, veterans, Black people. Because who has always held the line? Who follows the rules? Nobody follows the rules like Black people. So you get rid of those people who stood in his way. Remember when he was going to get the loan at the bank and the Black woman said, hey, we shouldn't give him a loan? They fired her. And if you look in almost every department, General C.Q. Brown, Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff, maybe we shouldn't do this, fired. The Admiral Halsey, CENTCOM, now we shouldn't be blowing up boats, fired. The Special Forces Commander, we shouldn't be putting boots on the ground in Iran, fired. The track record is clear. Now, if we want to keep pretending that we shouldn't be believing our lying eyes, then that's on us. But we're seeing it and it's right before us, and we should act accordingly.
Thomas?
Well, my 2 cents when it comes down, I'm just like, I don't know why we're shocked by any of this stuff. There's never anybody that's been qualified for the job yet. It's almost as if we're expecting something that we know we're not going to get. They don't care if you have qualifications for this position when it comes to this administration. They just don't care. And they want someone that's going to be holding to the BS that's going to weaken the country. And so if we're expecting better, I think we need to change our expectations. And, another great way to examine why we need a rewriting of our constitutions to fill the gaps that allow these rats to get in the first place.
Lee, I think we need to change our perspective on this. And it's not just that these people are unqualified, because that's clear. It's that he specifically wants people who are unqualified. That should also be clear to us. His number one thing is, you're right, is loyalty. But right on par with loyalty is somebody who's not qualified. Because if somebody's qualified, clearly they wouldn't go along with a lot of the crap. So you get somebody who's loyal first. Qualification doesn't make a difference. A rational person would look at Palti and say, as a matter of fact, it's not just whether he's qualified by opinion. He is not qualified by statute, because there is a job description with requirements associated with it that he clearly does not meet. So purposely, they put people in position. The guy that's in charge of counterterrorism, what was he, like 23 years old or something like that? And his occupation was doing lawn work or something. You don't want qualified people that can stand in your way. You want people who are beholden to you, who will do as you say. And that's what he's getting. And the Senate are complicit because they know that these people are not qualified. And yet they confirmed them anyway. You were talking earlier about what has to be done after this is over or once the Democrats take power.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, the Democrats need a shot of I give a F. That's the first thing. And then somebody needs to transplant a backbone into them so they can stand up, because we're going to need people. Don't make a difference on gender. We need people who are going to fight for what's right. And the people who harmed us need to pay a price so that the next time somebody thinks about doing the craziness, they'll go, ooh, that may not be such a good idea. We let Nixon get away with it. We let Bush get away with it. That told 45 he could get away with it. He got impeached twice, got away with it. Insurrection at the Capitol. First time the Confederate flag been to the Capitol. Got away with it. You keep letting them get away. If you keep feeding the baby snake, eventually it turns into a very large snake that'll eat you. And right now, we're in the process of being eaten. And it's either we get eaten or we eat them. And it's our choice.
Well, I mean, here's the truth, though. The fact of the matter is this. Those are the Republicans who've allowed him to get away with this thus far. That's just the truth. The votes. Can we keep it on the 4? I don't need to be. It's just like freaking me out. Like it's just me.
Hey, 3D.
I feel like the Republicans are complicit, and that's just the truth. One party has been working as a Confederate party, and that's just what that is, and that's why the Confederate flag was able to fly at the Capitol, the national Capitol. The other thing that I feel like, and I'll go again, when you said the Democrats have to give an F, I put up a thing that showed how the DNC, it has a hard time raising dollars. And they've had to leverage their headquarters to get some money to help in races. We talked about when Trump got in office and some of the things that he took away. Now you don't have people who can contribute to the DNC around the country. And they've almost set up this McCarthyism type of propaganda against the larger donors. And so there's just been a lot that I've seen taking place where, we're not asking enough questions. We're not saying enough. And while the DSA is running their thing, and I get not wanting to take AIPAC money, they shouldn't take AIPAC money. The fact of the matter is one side has a lot because they have all the things that we refuse to cut off. They have all the money from the AI companies and tech companies. They have all the money from these industrial giants. And the other side has what? They have a populace of people who, if I'm being real, yeah, the Republicans should lose. But it's almost like, Rodney, folks are expecting me, you, Lee, and Rashi to go vote for him. And our 4 votes should count for 12 people. And that's not how this is going to work. People are not pissed off enough, if you ask me. And I think people are too busy caught up in the everyday trivial conversations than actually take a look at what's going on at this Capitol. And that's just the truth. And I'll ask the question again. Was the conversations about greens in the tub, was it really worth it? The idea of, was she black enough? Was it really worth it? I mean, because when they said they did an autopsy, I think a cultural autopsy should have been done. the idea how we allow certain people to drive a conversation about politics, which they have no fucking clue on, and we stand on it. And, you know, it's not a part of our topic, but you can just look at Officer Tatum and what he has done in that situation inside of Mississippi with the young brother who was murdered. Even when the truth is provided to him by black folks, he say that we just won't, we just crying. But what is Nancy Grace doing when she's correcting him and pointing out that he's lying? But that's another example of these platforms platforming people like him to misdirect. And it happens so much in politics, you know, and I'll say it again. You know, it's bad when Nick Fuentes is now saying, man, I'm voting for the Democrats, because at least with the Democrats, I know they're going to give me some health care. I know if I'm hungry, they're going to provide me some food. I know that they're talking about giving me something. The other party's talking about taking things away. Oh, thank you. You finally woke up on the common sense side of the bed. Now, can we get the other large portion of this country to understand the common sense portion is get your ass to the polls and vote?
95 days.
That's
You
just
better
what
get
that
a
is.
damn plan. Rashi, what's your take?
So I think this is a dangerous situation we're in because the job. I just need you to know that we're still talking about the appointment of the director, right? Of the intelligence, right? Of how we know things. And
Mm-hmm.
America without her intelligence is in trouble, baby. If we don't, honey, we do too much wheeling and dealing as a nation not to
I
have
agree
that
with that.
intel, baby. Honey, one thing a bully must know is who's corralling around their back. So and then so now if you telling me that we have the dude that the seat that controls the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, eh, all are
Keep
tell
going.
okay, it's eight and now this is why they mad. It's 18 different agencies,
That we
okay,
know about.
that we know about. Not talking about them black sites, right, Brother Rodney? We don't say nothing about the black sites. Okay.
We don't know nothing
Right.
about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You two specifically know
Know
absolutely nothing
nothing
about
about that.
as per the contract, right? So, what I'm trying to tell you is now we out there, we don't got no dude in the chair. We out here wheeling and dealing, and that scares me. Us, America, wheeling and dealing without no real hat at the top, watching us, watching them operatives in and out of them different places they doing. That is scary because we get down. So now we getting down and don't nobody even for real know what we up to because we don't have nobody applying pyramid pressure, meaning the top dude is talking to the next dude and the next dude talking to the next two dudes and the hip bone connected to the thigh bone. You got what I'm saying? So we out here, our operatives, our intelligence always go to the where the boots hit the ground, right? Our dudes we got living in them apartments, the people we have on witness protection, okay? The we out here looking real raggedy. So look, if you wanted to come at us, right, without our structure quite right, we are a cheese grater out here. If we leaking so bad with holes in it, okay? So I don't know if this is not intentional.
Oh, it's intentional.
Oh, it's intentional. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Because why would
It's
you
definitely
leave?
intentional.
It's like leaving the front door open. What are we doing? This is literally maybe not the front door.
no, it's the front door.
We
Oh,
definitely
it's the front
back
door.
door. I mean, this is not, and I'm trying to get people to understand. This is not someone we didn't hire to handle, say, beefing up Obamacare or something. This is not them. These are people in charge of all our domestic and international intelligence dealings so that we can operate as a sovereign nation within the global uh fucking matrix. And now
So
we don't got nobody to sit in the motherfucking chair. Everybody playing musical chairs with that job. That's crazy work.
So I'm watching Tor just the other day. And I watch these movies like I've never watched them before. Every time I watch it like I never watched them before. But I'm watching the movie and some of the actions or inactions by the people that were portrayed solidified something that I've come to a conclusion years ago, which others have come to the same conclusion. The Japanese clearly told us if we moved our forces from California to the Hawaiian Islands, that they would take that as a declaration of war. We did it anyway. There were many signs from our intelligence community that the Japanese were going to attack. We ignored them until the Japanese attacked, and then we sprung into action into World War II. Notice what we did, though. We not only declared war against Japan, whom did attack us, we also sent troops immediately to Europe. We were never attacked by the Germans. Why were we in Europe? Why? Because we needed an excuse to get in the war. And once we got an excuse to get into the war, it was a crack that the government needed in order to save Great Britain's ass, and they exploited it. They used the crack, they kicked it into a whole damn hole and ran through. There's no difference here. We all know what the plague potentially could be. There's nervousness about the midterms. Therefore, there's nervousness about 2028. There's been a push for him to run a third term. There's merch out there that says Trump 2028. I'm not convinced that he's not convinced in his mind that he will not run again in 2028. If we are then attacked, why would he not then declare martial law, suspend the elections, and not allow an election to take place, be it the
He don't have to
midterms
run.
and
He don't have
or
to run. He don't have to run, Brother Lee. He's got his hand. He's got his thumb in the Supreme Court's booty. He's got one finger. What you said earlier, Brother Barry. He's got the tech money. Wait a minute, was that you, Lee? Saying he's got his two fingers in the captains of two industries. He's got his pinky finger stuck in a couple of them foreign national dignitaries' booty, and he twiddle that anytime he does not, he never has to run. He can
he
become
does.
a president without a seal or whatever. You know
He
what I'm talking about?
does. He does. If you listened to Rodney earlier, the legislative branch can outmaneuver the executive branch and the SCOTUS. So if he does not run again, if he does not have that protection, and Democrats come in and press him, they can not only impeach him again, they can remove him immediately. The question is, how does he go if he goes?
Well, my
That is
problem
his
is,
concern.
but here's my problem with that, I'm just looking at it from a 3D level. The issue isn't just about if he goes; it's what the damage they've done to the country thus far. Does that open us up for attack from
Yes,
outsiders?
yes.
And I think that's not that conversation has not been driven home enough. And I know some people will say how we shouldn't talk about that because it's almost like inviting, but trust me, Russia, China, etc., they know.
Everybody thinking about it.
Well, I mean, they don't got to think about it because it's clear by who he's touting out there. They're having conversations with him in passing. They know what they don't know. They know what they don't understand. It goes back to the Iranians saying that they know how to negotiate with him as if he's as if he has dementia. So they've figured out a way to talk to him and how to handle him. And I think they have with Hexeth and the others. The thing with this country, and I'll say it again, it's the thing that the citizens are saying that they don't care about. It's this thing, y'all, where everything that I've seen in the last 2 decades that people say, oh, I don't care about this. I don't watch this. Nope, I ain't got no opinion on that. Oh, you don't? That's good, because now you about to have issues, right?
Mm,
This situation with Fauci. right? As if
And
Fauci somehow, some way was responsible for COVID. I
like he
mean,
went literally stuck all something million of us. Like he rubbed on all of us.
I mean,
He
he,
didn't
he,
say
he
shit
didn't
either.
he didn't tell anyone to drink bleach. I mean,
Just put some sunlight on it.
the things that we are watching, but then again, looking at Trump is one thing, but then I have to be mindful that it's the Republican senators who are grilling Fauci. That's what I have to look at. Hey, Trump is one thing, but then I gotta ask, do these fools keep their jobs? Because the fact of the matter is, if we're talking about the front door, back door, side door being open, I believe it's them who's leaving the rock in the door. Because if they just had their minds and
We put the key right here.
yeah, hey, shout out to Cornyn and the other cat that's leaving out. I'm happy that at least somebody pushed back. They say you burnt me, so I'm gonna burn you back. I'm
Tom
just waiting.
Tillis.
Tom Tillis. But when are the rest of them going to? I don't even want to say wake up. When are their constituents? And that's the real truth. One of these hillbillies going to be able to say, man, we about to be starved out by what y'all doing, and we want y'all gone. When they gonna wake up?
What? Well, let me ask you, Brother Barry, Brother Rock. Do you feel like Anthony Fauci did the best he could possibly have done? Do you think? No, I mean I'm not playing Republican. I just want to, because this was a as they say in Europe, this was a sticky wicket, right? So what do you feel like he was able and then did perform to the best of his epidemiological duties as far as this uh, ongoing, still currently ongoing viral infection was concerned? And do you think the strides and strategies he used were legitimate, or were they excessive? What, Brother Rodney?
So again, if we use history, we know what worked and didn't work from the so-called Spanish plague that was probably actually the Kansas plague that military just spread around through the country and the rest of the world, including Spain. But anyway, we know what worked just from that history. There's plenty of books, there's plenty of data on it. We know what works, we know what didn't work. And the number one thing that worked then is the number one thing that works now is you have to starve the virus. In other words, you have to prevent it from jumping into another host that will jump into another host. So you have to shut that down. The way you shut that down, and historically the way you shut that down, is the number one thing is to separate people. That's the number one thing. It's an airborne virus. So you have to cut off access to other people for it to get into. That's number one. Number two, mass up. Yes, it doesn't prevent everything, but it does slow it down and it diminishes the opportunity for it to infect another person. Those are the two biggest things. And then here's the thing that they couldn't do back in the 1900s. They didn't have the technology to create a vaccine as quickly as we did, mainly because there was a vaccine for cancer that was all well underway, that had research, had data, and they took that and they applied it to COVID, which sort of sped up the process. So can people say, well, it didn't get adequate testing? Under a normal environment, I would say correct. But it was not a normal environment because you had so many people dying that the mortuaries were so full, the hospital morgues were so full that you had meat trucks, tractor trailers for tractors packed full of dead bodies. In New York, my home state, they had an open grave for people. They just couldn't bury them individually. They had to pile them up in an open grave. We could not sustain that. So we had to do things that were a little abnormal. But when we look at it, look back at it, look how many lives that were saved. And look how many lives we lost using ivermectin. look how much money we spent. What is it, like 63 million doses of what's the other one? Not ivermectin, but Jenna, whatever the heck it is, hydrochloroquine or something. We have like 65 million doses of it stored away for no reason. That's cost us a whole lot of money to get, and that has actually caused the death of people on top of the deaths on COVID.
So do you think this right here, this Fauci witch hunt, is a fiscal scapegoat session? Meaning the people are going to tell Trump, look at what you did through the pandemic, right? And this is him not just saying the problem with that whole term, the problem with, I should get a do-over for that term because Anthony Fauci and them made it impossible for me to have a normal running term because of how he handled a how he handled a potentially non he made something big out of something that was small. He
No, it was
made
made, it was big. No, Fauci did. I mean, look, because the thing is, and this is just us on an American level. We act like COVID wasn't impacting the world. It wasn't just here. Fauci's not over medicine across the UK and Europe and other things. They had those same issues there. Fauci could make this as big as it became. I think that Trump and them, and I agree with Marlon, it is a distraction. I also think that Rand Paul has some other issues with Fauci outside of COVID. And
Very personal.
he's a libertarian, and they almost like Jehovah's Witnesses. Hey man, if you die, don't get you no blood transfusion. You just die because Jehovah don't want you there, and that's part of the libertarian grind. They don't believe in vaccines. They don't believe in any of these things. Well, I mean, we're trying it the CDC way with RFK. Now we got measles back. I mean, as Americans, we have to ask ourselves again, like when you start seeing diseases and plagues coming back that we thought we had ridden ourselves of, and you're saying, we're blaming it on one individual. We're saying, hey, that's all Dr. Fauci business. I think that could be a little bit, misleading. I think it's disingenuous on the Republican part, but I think the Republicans, that's just what they specialize in. And they get you to thinking about things. They get you arguing about things that you've already moved past. Like the whole point about putting Fauci up there and having this trial with him and not really exploring the Epstein situation, I think it's a distraction. The idea that we're talking about Fauci knowing Trump and his family is making a killing off of manipulating markets, off of inside training, even the plane that he talked about that was a gift, that he couldn't use that plane to bring his ass back to the U.S. because the plane was compromised. And not only was it not a gift, but it took hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars to modify that plane. That's a conversation that they should be having right now at the Senate. And so I think we as a collective, we have to ask ourselves, why do we keep on falling for this programming that these Republicans are serving us? Because that's all it is. It's just BS that they keep on serving up, that they feel like we care about, which we don't. Because here's the truth. Fauci was really up under, Trump done fired everybody. We've seen this where he's fired any and everybody. If Fauci was as bad as he said he was, why didn't he fire him? He's fired everybody else.
because he is the dude. He's the top dude. It's like one. It's another white lady.
I'm not,
They make the top two.
but
And
I'm not,
and she don't play with him.
but I'm not arguing his credibility. Rashi, but
So
here's what I'm saying. I'm not arguing Fauci's credibility. What I'm saying is Trump has fired other qualified people. If Fauci was such a bad person, why didn't he fire him? And part of the reason why he didn't, because it would have been more Americans dead if he did. He's just playing this game of blaming Fauci because he lost the election not because of COVID. He lost it because he just had shitty policy. And that's just what that is. They keep on talking about, hey, we didn't, the businesses, oh, because in the red states, they didn't have all of these restrictions. Did you see the amount of people dying in the red states? And it would have been sooner if so many of these red states weren't in places where they had a high concentration of vitamin D. Okay. I'm just saying, like, a lot of this stuff that these guys are talking about, they're not necessarily explaining the entire story. They're just giving us what they feel like we want as red meat.
So let's get back to the Senate, because we kind of broached into Todd Blanche's confirmation, but not fully. So Todd Blanche, again, up for Attorney General, and the vote came down last week. He was short 2 votes, and that was Tom Tillis, senator from Carolina, and John Cornyn, the senator from Texas. Now, both of them have objected. Huge portion of that is there is a commitment between the Attorney General and Treasury IRS. This commitment establishes a 1.8 billion with a B, talking about money earlier, Rodney, fund for anti-weaponization. We'll get into that in a minute. But the bigger thing is it prevents Trump, his sons, his businesses, and any affiliate, they avoid being audited by the IRS for life. They are exempt. Now, the fund, let's talk about that. So the anti-weaponization fund is supposed to be for January 6th defendants. It comes from a lawsuit filed by Trump, his sons, and affiliate, or Trump or an affiliate, that was filed in January of this year. The against the Treasury and the IRS over the 2019 disclosure of tax records. In May 2026, a settlement was reached, which dropped the $10 billion lawsuit in exchange for the DOJ signing the agreement. Who was the acting attorney general at the time? Can anybody take a guess? Todd Blanche, the guy that's up right now for confirmation. Now, allegedly, the fund has been scrapped. There's no writing on that right now. This is just what they're saying. Allegedly, this will never happen. Again, there's no writing on that right now. So what the senators that are objecting are saying, they want this in writing. They want it in writing, them declaring the fund is dead and the IRS will not be held to account with this bullcrap about not auditing them indefinitely, for real, for real. So that's what that's about. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I'll tell you how I feel about that. How the hell? What gives him the gumption to think that he is above the law? Again, I say this with all truthfulness and with my chest. Isn't the Republican Party supposed to be the party of law and order? If so, why is it that this dude is always trying to go around the law? Why is he always trying to bend the law in his favor? I don't get that. You're supposed to be the party of law and order. You're supposed to be the party. You're supposed to represent, the party of law and order. You're supposed to represent the party of working class Americans. pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, believing in America and America's traditions. What the hell going on with you, bro? How is it always a snake move on your end, bro? How you gonna tell the people one thing, but you trying to do something totally different all the time? Not the time, bro. How that make sense? Make it make sense to me. Rashi, would you not like to not have the potential of being audited by the IRS for the rest of your life? Would you
That's
not
not.
like that?
Did y'all hear that he's selling for $100,000 a month. He'll sell you information on how he gonna do this, this, and that. And if you want to, with enough money, if when he say I'm gonna do something with the steel industry on Wednesday or whatever, and you can invest your money or do. He's giving keys to the city, baby. You can buy a key to the city. He's selling. He's selling. Everything's for sale. Nothing is not for sale. That's what y'all need to hear.
Because when
Every
he dies, he wants us to go into the tomb with him collectively.
like an Egyptian pharaoh,
That's
and
the
we are his.
There you go. That's the pact. That's the pact that everybody may not be aware of, is that, and I do think, Lee, you're asking Republican and Rashi, they're looking at MAGA as separate. I think we keep on calling it the Republican Party, and this is about MAGA.
Mm.
And I think that's what the other Republicans are going to try to skate on when it's over. But the truth is that they're all being complicit in breaking these rules. The slush fund situation, thank
Oh,
God that Cornyn and Tillis
I
stood
think
up.
they surprising themselves.
You know,
How did 40 plus others stand by and allow this to happen? That's my question.
well, I think the
So
40
I don't
plus,
give a damn what state you live in, red, blue, green,
yeah,
yellow, pink, whatever.
yeah,
How does your state senator
yeah.
allow a yes vote on this bill?
Because Lee, when you get a position and they get it and telling you that it's pretty much almost like a lifetime appointment. If you tote the party line, they'll make sure that your coffers are filled, that you're gonna have these dollars for reelection, and you'll never be challenged. Just vote the line. I think that's the problem. So you get the zombie vote. They just vote. And look at what's going on with Mitch McConnell. He's dead, but they keep on telling us he ain't dead. I'm just if you really take a look at what's going on with
You
Mitch,
think Mitch really did?
man, Mitch is dead. He out of here. He's in the seventh dimension. Okay, he's in the seventh dimension.
What's
So, so
so? Who do I go to? Who do y'all go to for like information? Do y'all go to the Capitol Hill, and whose news are y'all reading when y'all do the in depth say who a politician is? Because
Oh
I,
God,
I I
I'm
know
all
because
over the place.
y'all
I,
sent
I
me a
like local
rabbit hole.
sources.
I'm over
I
here
like
rabbit hole about the current dude. His name is Emile Beauvais or Bove. And he also, I'm like, why is he got to move so the new dude can sit in the chair when the dude who's in the chair right now, Trump put him in the chair last year. Like, why are we even shifting this chair? What's wrong with the dude who's in the chair right now? I'm trying to read up and say why he's doing all the three-card money.
oh, okay, but
I mean,
to
you're either
answer your
down with the king or you out. I mean,
you're right.
that's just pretty much what it is. The people
Yeah.
who are saying, "Hey, man, I want to practice law after your old ass die," those are the people that they firing. I mean, this is what this boils down to. You either want to go to jail with me or you gotta go. That's just what that is. And he's running it like a tyrant. And I'll keep saying it again. Once we stop asking the questions of why he's doing it, and we start telling him we know what it is that you're doing, instead of letting them play, people use this term gaslighting. I think a lot of times Americans with Trump is gaslighting themselves.
Mm.
You can see clear as day what the objective is: steal everything, break everything, and when he goes, we all go with him. That's just what this is. He does not want America. to stand. And I've said this before in the past, and I'll say it again. He hates this country. Once everybody understands that and stop believing, this idea that he somehow has love for this country, no, he hates this country. And as soon as Americans recognize that and start voicing that, he hates the country. He does. That's why anything that has been a standard, he's tried to change. You don't change standards, slap your name on every goddamn thing possible if you're already in love with the way it is. He hates it. He hates it. And he shows that every day that he hates this country.
Rodney, what are your thoughts? You're on mute.
I mean, I could see him hating the country, but I guess overall, I don't see it being about him anymore, and it shouldn't be about him. It's not even about his sycophants. It's about us. It's more of us than it is of them. We see that this is wrong, and we're allowing it. There were some judges that came to the gathering. I'm not able to use their name, but one of the things I asked them, I said, "Is what ICE doing legal?" And said no. So then the next question, I asked some law enforcement people. I said, what should I do if ICE comes to kidnap me or somebody I know? They said, I should call them. And when I asked, why should I call them? They said, because it's illegal. I said, if law enforcement is saying it's illegal, if the judges are saying it's illegal, so then I went and talked to some prosecutors, some assistant DAs, and they said the same thing. Oh, no, it's illegal. Well, if it's illegal, why are our elected officials allowing it to happen? But here's the bigger question. Why are we allowing it to happen? Why are we complying with something that's illegal, that's hurting us? We have shown him what we will accept, and he's making sure we accept it. And I say we take a playbook partially out of Minnesota, definitely out of New York, and stop complying. And tell our elected officials, demand our elected officials put things in place like they did, I think, in your home state, Lee, with Wes Moore, that when ICE breaks the law, assaults people, kidnaps people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that they can be arrested and then arrest them. And how about this? Let's deploy the National Guard to protect the state's residents. Here's another one. New York has it, Texas has it, and I think Florida has it. It's not National Guard and it's not police, but it is a force controlled by the governor specifically to protect the people. Every blue state should establish that to protect there's things that our elected officials can do that they're not doing. There's things that we can do as citizens to push them, and that we can do ourselves to stop them that we're not doing. And if we keep waiting for our elected officials to do what they've proven that they won't do, we will keep watching our people take casualties. Remember, they declared war on us. The so-called Secretary of War declared war on American people in blue states, and the POTUS declared war on American people in blue states. And they are warring against us, and we're taking casualties. I say, if somebody's warring against me, I need to war back.
Mm. The two more things I want to hit on before we go, and we will run a little long because normally we would be rapping right now. So in Iowa, I really, really, really want to talk about this, y'all. So the water in Iowa, right now, Iowa has the second highest rate of cancer in the nation. And it's one of the few states where cancer rates are on the rise. The agricultural industry is obviously very huge in Iowa. And as we know, chemicals used for fertilizer, for uh, maintenance of cattle, what have you. They can raise the nitrate levels. Well, Iowans also get a lot of their water from private wells, and that water does not have to meet federal standards for water quality. This issue has become so huge that it's a factor in the gubernatorial race. Right now, the Democrat is Rob Sand, and the Republican is Zach Lon. I want to say Lahn. If I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. Normally, this is a Democratic issue, but the Republican is trying to outflank the Democrat on this one and talk to the environmental impact that agriculture is having on the water in Iowa. I wanted to bring this up when I saw the story because I said to you all that water is the next frontier. Yeah, water is going to be as precious as gasoline is right now. I think you're really going to see water start trading on the NASDAQ. I see that happening. And I say that because of things like this. As we talk about mining or fracking or just general infrastructure projects, I think the threat to water is going to become more and more prevalent.
Hmm.
And we're going to need to rethink how and what we as humans are going to do in order to tap into good, clean water. Now, we already know that salt water occupies the majority of the water sources on the planet. There have been some countries that have put themselves in the forefront of nations that have the ability to clean that water to drinkable water. I think the next part of that battle, frontier, if you will, is going to be what do we do to get the other contaminants out to keep water clean and drinkable. Go ahead, Rashi. I'm sorry.
I said, go Lee. Go
Oh,
Lee. I'm sorry.
no, no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no. Again,
When
I
I be when
saw
I
that.
be pumping science, I be like, oh, look at him doing that old science. You do your science teacher proud. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're fine. I saw that article and I didn't want it to go to waste. I didn't want us to allow that story to really swing by because I want to get this in people's heads. You know, we talk about protecting ourselves and our family. I don't think people think about your water sources as a place or a area in which you need to protect. You know, this is serious, man. This is getting really serious, and it's going to do nothing but get worse. You know, and that's why I wanted to get it out there. Last, anybody got any comments on that?
Well, I know we
Tommy,
had a cyber
y'all
attack on
be
our
about
water
it.
systems here in Minnesota.
What a
Uh,
cyber attack.
yeah, we had, yeah, that was the big news that we had cyber attacks on our water systems in Minnesota. And, we have some of the best drinking water in the country here. Our water is, you can definitely drink Minnesota tap water.
Right.
And
Y'all
it's,
fed Great Lakes and stuff, right?
yeah, but we also have some of the best purification. Like we've really invested in our infrastructure when it comes to water. So we've had that here for quite some time. And it's major. He's right about water being some of those things. I was telling Lee when he called me and was talking about it this week. I said, brother, one of my favorite movies is the Book of Eli. And I'm like, I always kind of like thought about it, and we thought about the nuclear explosion, and that was the way that the Book of Eli was kind of caught up. But in the Book of Eli, it was two things that which was few in America. It was water and it was books, and people wanted knowledge. And today, you almost the same thing might cause the water drought, and that's these AI facilities. And so when you start talking about contamination, you start talking about the overusage of water, you start looking at the things that are drying up and running up water or polluting the water the most. And this is what happens when you let these corporations get out of control. And again, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Book of Eli by the Hughes brothers. One of my favorite
Yeah. With Denzel.
with Denzel. It's one of my favorite movies. But when you look at what they were going through during that time, remember it was water and it was books. They were looking for the Bible. I think the Bible was the ultimate book,
And
but it,
so we're successful then, because I mean we're vulnerable. I mean, Brother Barry, because we live near good water. Brother Rodney, you might be even shielded a bit because Vegas, y'all not known for having a crap load of water. But
The current POTUS just gave away 28% of Nevada's water to AI centers.
right, okay, so now we're under the same siege here in Kansas City because we have the Missouri, which is a beautiful stretch of water, and it goes so long it go into territories that ain't nobody clocking, right? So people are creating their data centers right there next our water source, the Missouri. That's the only thing that's slowing them down. The greedy people who own the land, Brother Barry,
Mhm.
they are selling that land. They holding it over just for a little while until it go to 20 million, 30 million. And as soon as it's hit like 80 million or whatever, they sell that patch of land because it got creek rights. If it got creek right, you know what I'm saying, to the water that lead it out to our good water, man, they getting hundreds of millions of dollars and they selling it off. We got 3 data centers finna crop up around us in the greater Kansas, Missouri area. And we cannot get those because they're farmers. They live over there. They don't care if the city dies of thirst. They have their own personal well. And this is what Lee was trying to explain to everybody. Having your own personal well does not get you exempt from the pollution and the uh, illness that comes from these organizations. The well is going to be infected too eventually, just like the major water source will. So the fight for water, Brother Barry, the fight for water, Brother Rodney, and I feel like I've said this before, that it would be the ultimate goal. But the show you looking for is not the Book of Eli. The show you looking for, Brother Barry, is Dune. In the saga of Dune, it gets so deep when you die, they hook a hose up to your body and suck all the water out, every drop, and then they throw your dusty, crusty ass over into the desert and move on. So,
Well, I brought
uh,
up the book of Eli because of the books that
and
was brought up this week when they were talking about the AI companies are buying up all of the antique or books with knowledge, and they're destroying those books and feeding the AI with it. And so if you
Mm.
get water and the knowledge at the same time, that's a hell of a thing. And how do you operate without know-how? And part of it is tapping into the current arrogance and ignorance of the same time that we have today, feeling like we know everything. Even though we didn't build a structure, we're trying to take structure, we're trying to take these things away. And if you don't have the knowledge to go back and rebuild these things, then what do you have? And I feel like that's one of the parts going back to online. Oh, you say we don't need it? Fine. They'll take it away. See what you do with it now that you don't have it. Or you're not a water drinker. You use a soda and juice person. Wait, man, we're gonna use this water to go ahead and fill these AIs. Now, if you can't wash your ass, that's on you. You never said nothing about washing your ass. You just said you don't need that water. Okay, good. We gonna deal with it. Oh, you don't read books? Hey man, we snatch these books off the counter. Hey, they don't read them anyway. Listen, we got over a million things a day with people saying they don't read books. Okay. So I'm just saying, y'all, the
Yeah.
algorithms and the attitudes and the laissez faire that we have. And let's keep this real when we start talking about water. There's a thing called maritime law. You know, if you sitting on some water, I mean, water has always been a great resource. That's why they fought wars over water to protect layers of land. How do you get crops without water? How do you eat without good, healthy water? When we start allowing these people to bottle water up, that was just the beginning. Now they want to evaporate it. So I just look at this, y'all, and this goes back, and this is all politics. This is all
Yes.
politics. This is all capitalism versus democracy. Because in a democracy, you say, wait a minute, slow that down. We can't just let you. We just can't let you take all the water and kill us by thirst or kill us by us not being able to have crops. And I would say in Minnesota, which what is hard is I remember after 9/11, those same water plants that were attacked in St. Paul, they were protected right after 9/11 because I was working at this place called QS. I mean, we would go anytime the threat level got raised. When I would walk to work, we would park at the Science Museum right there in Wabasha in St. Paul, and you would see you see armed military men out there protecting those facilities. And so when you see a president saying we Minnesotans brought that upon ourselves, again, I wonder when he started talking like that, was it an inside job? Did it come from the Iranians, or was it something that they had done from Iran? You get what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it, because why would you not care for a state like Minnesota that's also connected to other states like North Dakota, South Dakota, who don't have large reservoirs of water, and even Iowa, who doesn't have large reservoirs of water? We're helping them with water as well. Why would you allow us to have our water attacked when you know we're right here in the heartland and there's a lot of farming still happening here between us and Iowa and Wisconsin and other places?
So I don't know if you saw it, Rashi, but Jamar said he'll be in Kansas next month.
I saw it, and when you put it up both times, and you need to you understand what he's saying, right? You understand what you understand what
I know exactly. I know exactly.
It's come on, man. It has nothing to do with the subject. Anyway,
But it was funny, Rashi. All right. So lastly, in Georgia, Thursday, Colin Gray, father of Colt Gray, whom was the shooter at the Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, killed 4 people, 2 students, 2 teachers. Mr. Gray was sentenced to 15 years in prison. He is the first parent held accountable for their child's actions in his mass school shooting. He bought his son a AR-15 style weapon for Christmas. He was found guilty for his negligence behind that weapon, not so much as the use of the weapon. That's why he only got 15 years. He left it unsecured, and his son then took it to school and killed 4 people with it. Obviously, this case will go to appeal. It will probably go to the Supreme Court, to be honest with you, because it is the first of its kind. But right now, he is the first said person in America to be held accountable for their child's actions in a mass school shooting.
15 years is light.
15 years.
It's light.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I agree.
That's a light sentence. And we just had a mass shooting. One of those days I was running around like crazy. I had to speak at a press conference about one of the young men who was one of 9 people who got shot outside of a nightclub here. And what I said there, and I stand on it, I still believe that when you purchase a gun, you should have insurance attached to your gun. Whatever happened to with your weapon, it should be on you. You should be accountable for what you purchase, because these people are straw buyers. They're buying and they're putting them in the streets, and they know that most of these people are buying those guns and put them on the streets for this mass destruction, typically are white males. Let's be honest. They track, Rodney, Rashi, they track almost every transaction, it seems, except these straw purchases of firearms from these white boys. Somehow, some way, they can't put a label on it. And I feel like when you have people who are going out and they buy multiple guns at one time, there should be some restrictions. There should be some way that you automatically track and say, okay, this guy has bought, 23 semi-automatic rifles. And by the way, he doesn't have a store that he's reselling them on, but, all of a sudden, like they always say, somebody stole it from me. Got stolen from me. I just think when I hear that he only got 15 years, and I think about the amount of people that was murdered with the weapons that his son used, uh, I can't say he's totally responsible for everything that his son has done, but it was his responsibility by bringing those weapons into the home to make sure that they were secure and locked up in a way that his son couldn't use them, especially if he knew his son was having some mental health issues. That's the main thing.
So that's the piece that I'm in agreement with his sentence, is because he knew that his son could do something like this. The fact that the gun was in the house, that is a thing. But the fact that he specifically bought a weapon for a son, or it could have been anybody, but for his son that he knew could do this, there lies the problem. And that's why I believe that he should have been charged with something. I'm not saying this should be across the board, but in this particular case, when without a shadow of a doubt, he knew, then yes, he's complicit in it and should be charged. How much time he should have gotten, I really don't know about that. I'm glad he got some time. And I'm glad he got charged, convicted, and that he got some time.
Mm.
Okay. Rashi, any thoughts?
I don't know. I don't think he gonna do it. Somebody gonna get him out. It's hard to explain how that is. If we start doing this, do you understand? If we start doing this, that a lot of people about to go to jail. Like most kids don't buy their own gun. Most people don't buy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody didn't buy. So it's going. If we talking about, I call it the fart defense. When he who smelt it dealt it. You didn't shoot the gun, but you know the gun. You know how the gun came to be. You know how it got into the hands of the person. Uh, we finna put like Kyle Rittenhouse and them people in jail. We finna put Dylan Roof's parents in jail. We're about to put like we're about to put so many people in jail under this precedent that somebody's gonna have to get this nigga all out, or we're gonna have to put all these other niggas in. You understand what I'm saying? It's I don't know. I don't like it because it's going. First of all, they're gonna have to show. They're gonna have to show the mechanisms by which you free yourself. You free somebody even though you know they're complicit in a crime. We gotta see because we already know they don't care about pedophiles. We already know they don't care about grifting. But do you actually not care about your son being the one who shot up the streets? You understand? Do you really not care? Because the Rittenhouses was like, not my baby. My baby was, he got some, here, they all clutch their pearls, but they don't go to jail. So I'm down. I just need y'all to understand. Are we finna do a precedent now? Can we grandfather some motherfuckers in? What's the name of the law? What's the name of the law that sends your ass to jail for your kids? Cause they all got a law, right? Like the Amber Alert or
Abating,
the
what they call it, abiding.
what's the
Uh,
legal precedent they put them in and under abiding? Like what? Like tell me let's make a name for it. Let's make it popular. I'll buy the T-shirt because it's a precedent. What we finna put if we start putting them up. Do
I
you
don't think
understand? Some Kennedys is going to jail.
I don't think that as a president, I think it's just another one of those laws like the monopoly law that people have been ignoring. Because there is a responsibility. Even when you go to firearm training, they tell you what your responsibility and the accountability it is for you to purchase a firearm. They just haven't been enforcing it. And it's okay if these people go to jail. I say the one thing in the ghetto, if you start locking up some of these people that's going in buying these guns for their sons, for their boyfriends, for their cousins, etc., you start locking them up. I saw one sister from Indiana was responsible for 65 people being shot inside of Chicago. They need to lock her ass up because she had no business purchasing weapons in Indiana taking them over to Illinois, whether she did it or her boyfriend did it, whatever, she was the one that was purchasing the weapons. And she's responsible for not only deaths, but other people being shot. And at some point, again, accountability has to enter into the room. And that's what we're seeing here. A lot of these people know that their children are having issues and they're not doing anything possible to lock up the guns. They're allowing these children to have access to these weapons. Man, at some point, you got to take the guns out your house. And here's the other thing. Sometimes the kid don't just shoot up the school. They shoot up the parent too. They kill everybody in the house. So we done seen enough of that. I just think that, and look, I'm not an anti-gun person. I want to say that, make sure that I'm clear. I'm not an anti-gun person, but I am like, yo, we got to be accountable if we buy these guns. We can't just buy these guns, bring them into the community, and then if my son goes and shoot up my neighbor's house, and I know my son is battling with some type of mental health crisis, that I'm not responsible, especially when I know I got a little a semi militia in my own, in my own bunker. I got to know that if my son got access to that, he can go do damage throughout the neighborhood. That's on me, especially if I'm the one that bought it. No different, Rashi, that if somebody borrows your car and they ain't got no license, but you throw them the keys anyway, and then they go out and
Need to go to the store, Thomas. I just need to go to the store real quick. I'll be right back. I know what you're saying though, but they're not ready, and you don't know what they're gonna do in it. They go do whatever they want in the car, your car, on their time, but the consequences become yours because when they follow the money through the tag, it comes back to you, not the individual. And so, it is a weird precedent, though. I will tell you that but it's not unheard of because I heard of parents being fined. You can get fined for as far as education is concerned. Don't have the state roll up in that house, and your baby, because your school had to call in to see if your baby was alive. If
Truancy.
baby, they take the baby straight to the foster care, and they take your ass straight to jail, and then you bond out because it's negligence, and also
or in red states, if you try to put your kids in better schools, they'll lock you up for that too, for enrolling inside of a district that you don't belong to, like the sister inside of Ohio. Or what about the sister who said, hey man, in Pennsylvania, I'm gonna take this little food stamps I'm getting, I'm gonna flip that, I'm gonna go ahead and make some money so I can buy more food. She went to jail for welfare fraud because she was trying to maximize the food stamps to put more food on the table. I'm just saying, if those folks can go to jail for trying to better themselves, if Lil Ronnie decides that he's gonna go and take his daddy's weapons and he's going around the neighborhood and shooting up schools and stuff like that, well, his daddy got a responsibility because he knew that Lil Ronnie was a little off in the head. That you know what I'm saying? Well, he up at 4:00 in the morning listening to that crazy ass right wing
I
talk.
think that's why they got that white dude because he as well is off in the head. They did a 2-for-1
Well, God
because
bless him.
you heard the apple and the apple tree complex. But that's the thing we're fighting here. That's actually the root of this argument. Apple to tree. Do you know that your child is crazy? Well, not so much when you a MAGA. When you a MAGA, or when you man and you've been in the Vice Deuce Lords for the last 3 decades. Your great grandpa helped start the Vice Lords or whatever. You steeped in the idea of gang mentality. You cannot see if your son is exhibiting it because you it. So I think they just did a 2-for-1. I am afraid of the precedent. I do agree some shit that maybe not jail time, but adults who purchase firearms for people who they don't uh, monitor, who are underage, should not be able to purchase even a slingshot again. Take all that shit up out the house, and all they get is butter knives and all that. They can't have nothing but mace and butter knives. But they don't get no more switches because they don't know what to do with the responsibility of the switch. So, but I don't know if you send their ass to jail, but I know you take their toy. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion.
So we've gone long enough. Let's wrap. Thomas, what you got working? I know you got a lot going on.
Well, I just want to, just in case this is my last show before my grandmother passed, I just wanted to give a shout out to my grandmother. Uh, I was, you know what, man? Listen, there's a lot of things that you can say you've done yourself, but typically it's the people who invested in you time, effort, love, prayers, etc. And my grandmother got moved to hospice. And, I got a good call from my uncle today. But either which way, I made peace with the fact that my grandmother has ran her race. She's 93 years old, and if she makes it to her birthday in September, she'll be 94. She is the oldest child, and all of her siblings have passed away. Her oldest children have passed away. She's outlived her oldest children, and she's outlived the men that she married. And so for me, I just look at it from the aspect of, man, I'm so blessed to come from the lineage of this woman, and she's a fighter. So she might fight her way out of hospice. She's lasted this long. But I just wanted to say to my family, if you are watching this stream, hold your head. She's ran her race, and we should be happy that she's ran it. And on a lighter note, happy birthday, the West Side. She turned 21 today. I'm proud of this young lady. Got a chance to come in her life 6 years ago. Just proud of watching her arc and her trajectory at the same time. So we celebrate the passing of my grandma, possible passing of my grandmother, but also the life of another young lady that I love as well. And that's just how life works. It's always when we're losing some and gaining something at the other side, and you got to be able to weather it all. So kudos to my grandmother Jessie. I love my granny Jessie. And one quick note, my grandmother is one of those people that the last major play before COVID, she lost her mother. She lost her mother when she was 10 years old. And so, as I brought up to you guys before, I had both grandmothers, my dad's mom and my mom's mom. They both lost their mother during the last outbreak inside of Arkansas. Both of them, both families in Arkansas, and they lost, the matriarchs of their family at 10 and 8 years old. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's what's up. Rashi, what you got?
Like I was telling you, I done slipped on my 60-year plan. I'm up 20 something plus pounds, and so now I'm looking forward to moving around more. I'm going to embrace walking steps, and I'm going to try to get myself ready for my 10th year teaching. My 10th year. I think this is
Nice.
year. It's either year 9 or year 10. I can't remember, but it's something close to that. Uh, because I started out as just substitute, and now I've moved over to. But from the moment I set forward in the classroom, I only have one mission, and I'd like to reiterate that my personal mission, brothers, okay, is to be a conduit of actionable information that's true, okay, that's repeatable, and that I know whether it's good, whether it helps. Let me say that where it feels good or not, it will work. And so I'll try my best to make sure that the information that I state will work. I really want to thank y'all for being open earlier today in the show when we discussed how a person decides to present themselves to society, having a bearing on who they think they are, because all y'all got the same hairstyle, but I got butt length locks, and so I get a different person. It comes with a different ideology from people, and I just need y'all to start looking at these different people and agreeing, because that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to look at 100 little young people who have decided who they're going to be, and I'm just hoping I can do right by them, brothers. But that's the mission, y'all.
Okay.
I'm here to pass on good information.
There you go. Rodney, what you got?
In 3 days will be 45 years since I raised my hand and affirmed that I will protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And we have a domestic threat now greater than any foreign threat we've ever had. Also, yesterday was, I believe, the 58th anniversary of Franklin Armstrong coming on the scene. It was 58 years yesterday that the Peanuts uh, cartoon received Franklin, the first black
Okay.
person
Yes.
in the Peanuts. And that
Mhm.
was done because of an educator who saw that there, after Dr. King was shot, that how could they bring people together? And she thought that the cartoons could help bring children together and make sure that all children are represented. So might be small to some, but in 1968, it was huge to see Franklin in the Peanuts.
Even if he did have to sit on the other side of the table, right? Hey,
That was
hey,
for the Thanksgiving
for
that
Thanksgiving.
the author, Charles Schultz, did not have control over. As a matter of fact, when the South threatened, Charles Schultz said, either you will take it as it is or I quit. And that's how we got Franklin, is they'd rather keep getting those double sawbucks coming through. But once it was sold to television, he didn't have control over that.
Gotcha. As far as I'm concerned, much like Brother Barry, I said in the beginning of the show, if you didn't catch that part, I was with my mom last weekend and she turned 88. So it is a blessing to see her here. However, she's not here. She's going through dementia and Alzheimer's at the same time. So it's difficult seeing her knowing that she don't know me, you know. But that's okay. I too am prepared for whenever she chooses to transition. This Tuesday I'll be in Texas because my uncle will have his memorial for all of his transition a couple of weeks ago. Uh, but I'll be back and ready to go, fully loaded and energized for next Saturday. As we say, and we've said a million and one times, people, handle your business. Make sure you don't leave that to your family when you leave. The last thing they need to do as they grieve is also worry or grieve even more because they're going broke. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure that you're put away however you want to be put away. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. We respect you. You all be good. You all be safe until next weekend.